For today's tabletop testing, we're going to be looking at the new Pikachu EX from Surging Sparks. It has that phenomenal ability that allows it to survive an attack with just 10 hit points remaining when it would be KO'd, making it a very difficult Pokemon to one-hit KO, forcing cards like Canceling Cologne or prep damage from certain abilities to get that clean KO. It also has the very enticing attack for 300 damage, discarding 3 energy from this Pokemon. Yes, it's 3 different colors of energy. Yes, it's expensive, but the list in front of you has multiple means of powering up this Pikachu turn by turn. We have the Magneton with the Overvolt Discharge, allowing you to knock itself out to attach 3 energy to your lightning Pokemon in any way you like. We have that Joltik in the 60 as well, which can put 4 energy immediately into play for you to utilize with your Pikachu and Iron Hands. Speaking of which, Iron Hands can lead the charge, get attacking early, start taking those prize cards, and a Heavy Baton Iron Hands can immediately throw lots of energy onto a backup Pikachu to keep up the pressure. The final tool we're weaving into the 60 is the Powerglass. This card hasn't really done much in Standard just yet, but pairs really nicely with an ability like Pikachu's, because finally we have a Pokemon that can reliably stick on the board after discarding its energy to get that reload so we can manually attach and continue a chain of attacks. The list in front of you is utilizing Miraidon EX. It gets out both of our main attackers as well as our engine Pokemon, including a Rotom V, which has made it into the 60, giving us a great means of topping up on hand size if we've gone first, and allows us to have this nice Arven package in the 60 where we have 4 individual tools, and that Forest Hill Stone is a great consistency piece that of course Rotom V can utilize. We've got the Vessels, the Ultra Balls, the Squawkabily to try and discard those energies early to bank them for a Magneton play. And we are playing quite a wonky support count right now, but they are all trying to fit different purposes. The Kieran can help Pikachu push into stage 2s. The Briar lets us take an additional prize card when we score a knockout. Of course we have the Boss, but also Prime and Counter Catcher in the 60. The Penny's a cute switching out, but also works really nicely with the Resolute Heart from Pikachu. Then we have the Roxanne double Iono, which synergizes nicely with Magneton, and the Arven to cherry pick some of our key item cards, as well as these tools that we're leaning quite heavily into. This is just a first take on what a Miraidon approach could look like, so we're going to talk about refining the list towards the end of the video. For now though, let's see Pikachu EX in action. If you're looking for PTCG live codes, make sure you check out the Potown store. You can get a 5% discount on your orders using that code OmniPoke. Getting into this first game then, Jack is going to be on the right, piloting that Pikachu EX Magneton list with a sort of Miraidon EX engine, and I'm going to be on the left playing Regidrago V-Star. Jack kicks off with a Joltik attach pass. Not ideal whatsoever. I can see lots of supporters in his hand for a future turn, but not so much going first, which is kind of rare. You know, 8 ball search cards and lots of early game abilities that can help him out. The Squawk, the Miraidon EX itself, Rotom V, lots of things that could have helped out, but just nothing in that opening hand. And there's actually a way that I can win this turn with the way we've built the Regidrago, because there is Scramble Switch in the list. So there is a means of me actually getting a turn 1 Ogerpon attack, and it's still possible just with enough energy switches to just get a Regidrago attack in as well, even. So there may be a line here that I think I'm looking at actually, because I think I have the Scramble in my hand. You can see it on the far right there. So there's actually a possibility for me to get a way to win via Scramble. And that's why you're going to see me Ultra Ball for a second Ogerpon EX here. I don't think I have the exact combo. I think I'm supporterless. It might only be Boss in my hand. So we're going to try and draw one more with another Teal Dance. And I draw the Fire Energy. So I was actually a piece away from winning. If I'd drawn the grass instead of the fire, I win there. But Jack gets the Sigh of Relief. He can Arven now. And you can see Forest Hill Stone is there. There's also Nest Ball. So from this one Arven, he can go Miraidon EX as long as it's there, to then springboard into a few basics, which could include Rotom V to then activate Forest Hill Stone immediately. That's one of the nice synergies that we have going on within this list. But Jack could also start getting some more Pikachu into play and could just use Joltik to attack with here and line up a couple Pikachu EX as a plan. Certainly getting one Pikachu EX, and looks like a Magneton might be an option. Maybe he's prized the other Pikachu. That could be one of the things sort of holding him back here. Otherwise, I think you really enjoy... Oh yeah, he is going to go double Pikachu. I do really like the idea of Joltik just powering 2 of these up really quickly. And you just hold on the Forest Hill Stone for maybe next turn for Miraidon EX to use on Rotom. If it's even in the deck, it might be prized as well, of course. But yeah, this is the power of the Joltik. Oh, looks like just assessing his prizes, he is actually going to make the change there. Just go to the Powerglass rather than the Forest Hill Stone, which is completely fine. We're testing, you know, the new deck list, that sort of thing. And Jack, would he have had the option to search the deck before? No, he wouldn't, but anyway, either way, we're testing. So we're just going to... I think Jack's just saying that Hourglass is better regardless, which is fair. And again, we're testing, so we're just going to let these plays fly. We're going to Iono here. I think that was my top deck, so I actually have something to do this turn, and now I can Nest Ball. And it's going to be a Regidrago V. I imagine I won't be trying to launch an attack this turn because it's just on a one-prize Joltik, which doesn't help me too much. It would deny, like, Magneton plays from Jack later, maybe, or make it more difficult for him to make that line. But he's already got 2 powered-up Pikas, so he might be able to, like, with Powerglass and with manual attachments, just get there for the remainder of the game, to be honest with you. So, it may not even be a big issue for him. I'm just going to Ultra Ball. And I also have to be a little bit concerned about Gust from Jack's side of things, but I think I'm just going to go for a Mew EX here and see if I can draw into any more pieces. I'm going to switch into the Mew for a pivot option, draw 2 cards. What do we see? An attachment for the Regidrago V at least. And then we're going back into the Ogerpon because I think I still need the Mew EX draws and a pass. So yeah, not ideal on my side of things. Let's see what Jack can come up with here. We do see the Ultra Ball. Going to get rid of Bundle and Magneton, and Jack's eyeing up Fish for Boss. So it looks like he's going to target down my 1 Regidrago, which is not good news. Definitely not good news. Does he have access to that Metal Energy in hand? Almost certainly if he has this play lined up. Also going to Night Stretch out Magnemite that he just discarded with the Ultra Ball, so he can have an easy reload of another Pikachu if required. But also with that Powerglass, he can re-establish that lightning energy, so it's essentially just a 2 energy discard from Pikachu. This Powerglass really isn't a great tool, but it's very powerful with Pikachu because it's one of the few cards that can more reliably tank for a turn thanks to its own ability, right? So there's actually situations where you can feel quite likely to be tanking and get utility out of this tool card, which not many other cards can really boast. So this Pokemon actually takes great effect of it as I am trying to re-establish the board. We see the Hawlucha maybe a turn later than I would have liked. If I could have seen that earlier, I could have got both Pikachus tagged. But it looks like I have to take another turn off here, which is really not ideal. Let's see what Jack can sculpt though, because he does still have to, you know, keep removing resources. He's just spent a boss. There's no guarantee that he can do much here, but if he has access to Prime Catcher, we'll be in trouble, and that's what Arven might be grabbing. What do we see? Forest Seal Stone plus Nest Ball, so he's going to use the Area 0 Underdepths to open up board space. He's going to Iron Hands. He could have got that for free from the Miraidon EX, though. Surprised he went for Nest Ball. Not sure if that's the best option, to be honest. We're then going to see the Forest Seal Stone for the Magneton. And we're going to see the Payment of Retreat into Iron Hands. So this is how Jack still gets a 2-prize knockout here. By retreating and powering up hands, rather than needing Gust here. He can manually attach. And then we're going to see the Miraidon afterwards to get a Magnemite for the next turn. I guess me holding off on taking prizes for so long gives Jack license to use 2 Magnetons this game, which is a real worry. And yeah, he's even going to throw down the extra Rotom, give me the hands, goes down to 2 prize cards. And we're in a spot of bother, to be honest with you. I think my best line is maybe take out his benched Pikachu that has energy on. If I can do that, maybe there's a world. I could take out Pikachu and his Magnemite in the very best case scenario with my V-Star. If I can copy a... what's it called? Dragapult. Failing that, this Radzard could help me out a little bit. I could just take the KO for 2 prizes, make it difficult for Jack to maybe find Gusting. We're going to use some dances with our Ogerpon. Also used Fez this turn. Going to reload some Fire Energy. And thanks to Jack's Area 0, I can put more Ogerpon into play. As I'm just fixing my bench here. There is our V-Star. I'm holding on to 1 energy switch, so you can see that I've got Drago in mind. We are researching, however, so I can't Gust, because this list is Scramble Switch, not Prime Catcher. So we'll have to settle for Charizard this turn for 2 prizes, and then have a means of taking 3 next turn with that Dragapult copy play. But it means I have to dodge Gust for a turn. Now here I do Ultra Ball away a Kieran and a Sinnoh just to go lower for Mew. It's possibly correct that I should have just benched the Kieran there, because Jack does play Bundle, and it wasn't his discard pile, but he does play nice stretches, so there might still be a means of him winning via Bundle. He's going to Nest Ball out Fezandipti here. But I think, yeah, the boss has played. Counter Catch is obviously not live for him. Even if he blows up a Magnet, we would just be on even prizes. So I think his only means of pushing here is that Bundle. And I'm pretty sure he did just draw into Stretcher, which should seal my fate. Does he have the right energy, actually, to still get there? Let's have a look. Oh, he can Ultra Ball for another Ton here. Yeah, there's Magneton. He's pieced it together. There's the Bundle. Does push Charizard away. And then he can explode his Magneton one more time to get the metal energy that he was missing to take the win against, admittedly, a fairly slow start from the Drago. But after missing the Donk, I didn't really have much else going for me. But still an impressive showing, weaving in both Pikachu and Iron Hands, and also showing off Joltik there quite nicely. Getting into our next game then, I'm now going to be piloting a Charizard EX. And Jack on the same 60. Let's see how Charizard fares. A fairly simple list of the Zard. And I'm going to get to go first here. I have the Pidgey start, and I can Buddy Pop in to get some extra basics out. And we're going to grab Charmander and Duskull. I'm just taking a look at what else is in the hand before I do anything else here. And then we're just going to shuffle things up, and we're passing over to Jack, who has an Ultra Ball start. Going to get rid of Penny and the Grass Energy. Penny's an interesting supporter in the list. It's not super high impact, but obviously there's a synergy of Pikachu. It removes its own energy. It can tank with 10 hit points, so Penny can definitely disrupt the plans of, you know, things like Dragapult, which is typically going to be a harder matchup for you. But it's also not the easiest supporter to weave in at the right time, unless you're like using Lumineon to find it, so... One of the things we're thinking about of the list of whether or not we went too far with it, and it needs to be simplified a little bit. That's going to Miraidon here. He is shuffling up though, so I wonder if he's got something before this tandem units. Going to see the attach and the Baton. Ah, he has a Squawkabily, so he wants to Squawk before Miraidon. So is he still looking for pieces? What's he want to draw into? Maybe he just wants multiple Pika and multiple Magnets. Yeah, he's then going to use Miraidon after the fact. Okay, so he's going to go Rotom. That seems reasonable. Ah, did he prize his Pikachus? I think that's what's going on here. Yeah, so Jack's actually prized both Pikachu in this case, which might have changed things up. Good thing is he does have Iron Hands, and unless I have an absolutely barnstorming turn 2 with, like, Duskull and, Dusclops and Charizard, I think it was going to be okay here to still start taking prizes with Iron Hands. Even Miraidon EX can chip in as an attacker, of course. You can Magneton 3 Lightning Energy to Miraidon as a backup. Jack's just going to bench one more Magnemite. He can always open up his bench space with the Magneton usage anyway, so it's going to end on that instant charge. One of the nice things about this list, you have like good going second and first plays. If you go first, you can get an attachment in, and you can end on an instant charge, which then sort of unlocks your Forest Seal Stone. And if you go second, ideally you're looking for that Joltik attack. Passing things back over to me then. I'm going to Rotom and Forest from this Arven. And we're going to Candy into a Pidgeot EX. I think I'm just having a setup turn, though. It doesn't look like I have the aggressive 2-prize KO that I was really hoping for. So we're just going to pop out more Charmander here, as well as another Duskull. And maybe Retreat Duskull is my best line. Maybe if I don't want to get hit with Iron Hands, seeing Jack not getting any Pikas out, maybe just go Rotom is best here. Yeah, we are going Rotom. And we're just going to instant charge ourselves. Let's see what Jack can do then. Can he weave in a means of gusting around this Rotom? He could Iron Hands through Pidgeot or like Charmeleon. Both seem like decent options if he can get it going. He does have Forest. He also has Lumineon as well. So there's a way for him to either boss or Arven countercatch maybe if he uses a Magneton. That's probably the coolest play he can line up. There is the Area Zero in hand, but obviously with no Pikachus, it's not going to come together until they're taken from prizes. So he can Ultra Ball. That can discard some of his energy to line up this Magneton play. I think that's what he's going with here from the forest. There is the Magneton. The fact that it's 2 lightning is really good as well for Miraidon actually getting a follow-up attack. We are going to see the Magneton. It's going to be grass and 2 lightning to the active, so hands is fully powered up. He can then use Lumineon. Really nice sequence here, so we can utilize Countercatcher. This is a strange situation where I think it might actually be best for Jack to go for Charmeleon over Pidgeot. Because there's no guarantees he can get Pikachu from prizes. It may be best for him to line up a Miraidon to then take the next 2 prizes on my Pidgeot. So yeah, it is going to be Countercatch up Charmeleon. Rescue boarding the Miraidon, which I'm not a huge fan of, to be honest. I think I prefer it on the Squawk, because I'm basically never touching Squawk there, am I? But either way, it does commit the rescue board. I'm able to nest into Fez. I need to start bouncing back with some stage 2s. I've been a little bit slow off the mark to get these Charizards up and rolling. You can see why. My hand is atrocious. I draw Dusclops, Boss, Poffin. I just have all the wrong supporters in my hand. I think I have Churro, Briar, Boss. Just not the draw supporters that we're looking for here. So it's going to be a collapse to get rid of my own Rotom. I don't even know how good that is. If I'm going to be passing anyway, I'm going to quick search into Unfair Stamp and hope that the 5 are better. I don't know, maybe keeping Rotom around was best there, honestly. We'll see, though. We're going to get a fresh 5. Means we've not commit a supporter either, so from this 5 cards, if I hit a supporter, I might be able to still weave my way towards a candy combination. And I'm just showing Jack there that I've drawn into 3 fire energy, which is really bad for me. I'm going to fling 5 onto Miraidon so I can open up my bench space now post-collapsed for a supporter. And I have nothing. It's so bad. I still can't attack. There's no Radzard coming back anytime soon. And just giving Jack license to keep going with the hands is just too much to deal with. If I promote any 1 prizer, Jack takes another 2 there just from Iron Hands. So yeah, I have no safe place to go at all. He goes 4 prizes up with batoned hands there. I think he's just always in a really good spot to finish the game. So we're going to try one more time. And this time it's going to be Raging Bolt up against Pikachu. And we'll see how this deck fares. I think one of the biggest boasts for Pikachu will be matchups like this Bolt, where, you know, in theory, Pikachu can take 4 prizes before it gives up 2 itself. But obviously Bolt has means around the active position, and this still does play a bunch of 2 prizes, so it's still probably going to be a fairly balanced matchup. Jack can straight away Vessel away an energy, get another one into the mix. I see Nest Ball in the hand. Is it just going to be a big Squawk himself here? There's Bundle in the hand. Yeah, it's going to be a Squawkabily on Jack's side to get more energy in the discard pile for his magnets. He's going to Vessel one more time just to get even more energy flowing. Just make sure he has everything he needs in the bin. And then he's going to weave an attachment in onto the Mew and seize a fresh 6. Does draw into Miraidon and a lot of other ball search as well, so we might be able to lower his hand size for some Mew draw, whilst also getting some basics out. Do see a Magneton as well as a Rotom here. Also had access to Ultra, but is instead just going to draw 3 and pass things over. I get a pretty decent Pokestop. Getting rid of some energy is always nice. My hand's clearly reasonable because I'm Vesseling, unless it's going to be pre-Squawk anyway. And I just don't have access to any ancient guys. No, it looks like the hand's pretty good. If I'm Ultra Balling away to find the Bolt here. I guess the debate is, do I Sada for 1 or not in this case? Sada for 1, I can still get an attachment plus... Ooh, I am going to Gust. It's actually going to be the Rotom V here. And then we're just going to attach... And the debate is whether or not I Sada for 1. And I do choose to go for this and draw 3 pre-Squawk. I still have Cart and Prime in the deck. So we eventually do go back into the Mew because we hit the Prime, which is a weird sequence, you know, playing those catches to then bring something else back into the active. The 1 energy on the Mew really isn't that good for Jack, to be honest. Like, maybe he could copy a Bolt in a really bizarre board state, but it's so much less efficient compared to a Pikachu or something like that. So I was really just putting the Rotom into the active. It's just like if I whiff, I have that, but then I hit Prime, so then we have the option to just take out Mew and deny some draw. A weird sequence, but we end up getting into Ogerpon. Then I can Nest Ball out another Bolt. So I will be initiating the prize race here. There's also a Fez that I'm going to be benching, and then we're just going to blow up the Mew. Wanting to play around potential Roxanne, which is even on the table, because Jack has access to Magnemite. But also, yeah, just Iono in general. Jack's going to throw away a couple Iron Hands. And he's going to grab Magneton. He does have access to Miraidon EX that could get some Pikachu into the mix. Also has a number of switching cards, has the Prime Catcher as well. What does he want to go for here? He's trying to line things up. The thing about the Pikachu is it's like a one-time deal. You really need Powerglass, and I think that's in the prize cards, which is really hurting him. There's a world where if you have Powerglass, you can get a turn attachment in on the Pikachu, then Magneton for 3, and you end up still having 2 on the Pikachu, so then you have the easy, like, 4 for 2. But now that doesn't seem to be on the table. That's going to counter catch with Arven. Then Miraidon gets the double peak. And he is going to Magneton. So I think the idea is he needs to Magneton twice this game and just hope that the Pikachu, like both Pikachus can get a tank turn in, maybe. That might be what's happening here. He is able to bench that second Magneton and does have Night Stretcher for next turn. Honestly, Forest Wheel Stone for attachment there doesn't sound that bad to me, but either way, it's going to go... I guess because you don't have the Powerglass, it doesn't matter too much, but he's really lacked on attachments. His turn 1 attachment was to Mew. No attachment this turn either, so it's just been purely from Magnets. I'm able to Vessel to get Grass and Fighting, so I can at least draw 1 with Teal Dance here. Ooh, the Stretcher for the Fez is definitely nice, so I can draw 3. Jack not too pleased about it. Now have access to Sada. That's going to get both Bolt ready to rumble. There's another Ogerpon, so we've reloaded pretty nicely, but we have spent our Prime Catcher already, don't forget, so we're going to Pokestop. Let's get a couple item cards. So I'm not being able to break this Pikachu, so I might just have to take a turn prodding, and the best thing to prod with is definitely Squawk here, right? Because I can get more energy onto this board. At the same time, Jack has no energy in play. I know he has to Magneton, so by prodding, I'm still setting myself up for one attack to win this way. So it's a slow turn, but it's by virtue of Pikachu. Like in every other situation there, I just use Switch Cart, take 2 more prizes, go down to 1, everyone's happy. Jack has a few interesting options now. He's in that strange spot of like, if he uses that Magneton, he really has to hope he can tank, so probably needs to Hand Disrupt. He does have Prime Catcher though, so maybe Disrupt plus KO Fez is a line, and then maybe like you even go for a 3rd Magneton this game if your 2nd Pikachu can tank. So it's a difficult avenue, but if you can dodge Gust for another turn, he could still get there. And yeah, he's actually going... I really like this play. I think it's the only way he can win, to be fair. With that Forest Seal Stone saved, he can get Iono. And once again, disrupt my hand down low, whilst also dealing with Fez. Again, my Prime Catcher's gone. So it's going to be down to Catcher Flips if I can draw into those, or... yeah, if I can just draw Boss, but it was definitely in my previous hand, so it's been shuffled to the bottom, I know that much. Jack's able to Vessel quickly as well. Gets Lightning and Grass back out. We are just going to see that big discard once again. And Jack's just hoping this one Pikachu can tank. This Resolute Heart is the only reason Jack is in the game at all. So let's just see the power of Peak. Ooh, it's a pretty ugly Pokestop. I lose 2 Sardas in the process, but I guess I don't necessarily need the energy. I just would like the draw, perhaps, if I'm digging towards Pokemon catchers. Importantly, I get the shuffle effect in now, so the boss is now in circulation for me to draw, because it was at the bottom of the deck from an Iono from Jack. I'm actually going to pay retreat from this Raging Bolt so I can get maximum value from these energy retrievals with Greninja and Ogerpon. We're going to see 1 card first with Teal Dance. It gets me another Grass Energy for another Teal Dance. And then we get Boss Energy. We get pretty lucky. That shuffle was pretty important, to be honest with you. I had to shuffle the boss that was put to the bottom by last turn, and luckily the Teal Dances get me there, and I can manually attach to not need the Greninja in the end. Really fortunate ending to the game. Now let's get on to some final considerations with this deck list. It's definitely a little bit rough around the edges. I think possibly the list that it's in front of you is trying to do too much. The Briar, the Penny, the Kieran possibly as well. It may just be diluting what is otherwise a fairly coherent strategy. One thing I do know is that Miraidon EX put in a lot of work, giving you early access to Iron Hands as well as your next Magnemite, getting the option to Joltik and Pikachu, even have the option for that Rotom that's searchable to then unlock your Forest Seal Stones for Arvens to be live. I really like that aspect of the 60. The one thing that was perhaps a little bit awkward, however, was that the list didn't play any Crispin and only had 1 copy of the Powerglass, and I guess that Heavy Baton as well, which only comes up in certain situations if you go Iron Hands first. But I could definitely see this deck adding an extra Powerglass into the list, adding at least 1 Crispin to the 60 as well, so you're not so heavily tied to that Magneton throughout the entire game when you've gone first and can't get that Joltik attack in. What I do like about the 60 though is that even though it's an aggressive low to the ground archetype, it does have that defensive dimension with the counter catcher, with the Ionos, with the Roxanne, and of course the fantastic ability of Pikachu forces the opponent to have those low hand sizes and give them those do you have it style moments where you can always come back from behind. Let me know your thoughts on this 60 down below, but there's going to be plenty more builds of Pikachu on the channel, so stay tuned for those. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for another video. Cheers.